Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of the Globally Connected podcast. So, today we're going to be talking about a topic that is very near and dear to heart for us and for a lot of our clients as well. So, today we are going to focus on entrepreneurship and the trends that we've seen in entrepreneurship over the years and what being an entrepreneur means, and talking about some of the challenges potentially faced as an entrepreneur and some of the benefits of being an entrepreneur. So, without further ado, we're very happy to discuss this with you all and have you with us, and we'll get started. Jerome, I'd like to ask you about entrepreneurship from your perspective and what it means to you as an entrepreneur yourself.
Yeah, well, entrepreneurship is very near and dear to my heart. It's been something at the time I didn't know what the term was, but I could recall since a little kid, probably around the age of 5 and 6. I just remember wanting to actually sell and just create my own thing. Whether that was, I don't know if it's because it was the environment I grew up around or the people that I was around in general, but I always just wanted to do my own thing. And I just remember going to the Bank of America with my mom in my hometown and driving up, and I saw this guy get into a Porsche, and he had a button down with some slacks, and I could tell he was a businessman because it's kind of like you pick up on that, and I was like, that's gonna be me one day. But entrepreneurship in itself is just, for me, it's probably the primary way outside of investing in real estate to create your own freedom. So that's my take on entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
Yeah, yeah, actually, very similarly to you. Like when I was a kid, I remember the first time I heard the word entrepreneurship was in a class. I think I was in middle school, and immediately, like it like rang lights in my head, because the teacher was talking about different career paths and like success paths and stuff, and she mentioned entrepreneurship and how it was being your own boss, but that it was the riskiest career path that you could choose. Um, and I always found that very interesting because I love risk. I'm
Yeah.
all risk. So I always, it was always near and dear to me when I heard entrepreneurship and the risk involved with it, but actually being able to take accountability for yourself and be your own boss. And for me, entrepreneurship really, really is about also having the opportunity to solve a problem in a unique way, in an innovative way. So I think it really opens up the barriers and doors for more of a boxed in or traditional route. So for me, entrepreneurship is everything. Entrepreneurship is the breed of innovation for this world. I think all great ideas come from and all great things that are happening come from an idea that was sparked by someone willing to take the risk to solve a problem that either hasn't been solved before or to solve it in a new way. So I think entrepreneurship helps us identify challenges, adapt to them, provide new solutions to the market, and that's actually what we're doing here with Globally Connected Group. And we personally love to help other entrepreneurs as consultants. We like to work with entrepreneurs to help them reach their goals and help them scale also globally, because entrepreneurship is borderless, in my opinion. All of the possibilities are open in that way.
Yeah. So, I mean, to that point, I'll just ask before we dive into that, why, outside of from the beginning of what you saw as a kid, why did you personally choose the hardest thing in the world, or maybe the hardest thing in the world, to be an entrepreneur?
So I really wanted to become an entrepreneur so that I can actually pave my own path as well and actually connect with like-minded individuals on a mission, on a purpose, and help each other out. So I think it was kind of like a natural transition over time from also experiencing the other side of entrepreneurship, which would be whether it's like a job or going to school or something. Experiencing those things too made me appreciate entrepreneurship more. How about you, Jerome? What do you think led you towards entrepreneurship in your life?
I want to leave behind something for my kids, my grandkids. Nah, that's obviously cliche, but to be honest, I like to lead, and I also like, you know, the saying, change the world. That's obviously,
Mhm.
I want to change the world. Obviously, that is another cliche form. So it's like, okay, what can I do that is going to challenge me, push me behind my boundaries, and allow me to be in control? I'm not a control freak, but I
Mhm.
will say I like to be in control, but not in control as the typical definition of control, but more so in control to be the leader to show others that, okay, you could take this non-traditional route and leave behind something bigger than yourself. So
Mhm.
it's always been about something that's bigger than me. And from my perspective, entrepreneurship is a form where you could do something that's bigger than yourself, because you got to think about it.
Mhm.
People are counting on you, but at the same time, you are the leader and showing other people what they can do beyond their boundaries. So entrepreneurship, it pushes me beyond my boundaries. I haven't worked corporate, but I have been in corporate settings, and it just doesn't push me as much as entrepreneurship do. I actually saw something.
Mhm.
It's this YouTube channel that I subscribe to called Founder on YouTube, and it gives you quotes about entrepreneurship daily. And one of the things that stood out to me was, it says entrepreneurship is a journey of personal development. And when I saw that and I
Mhm.
thought about that, entrepreneurs and building our own establishment for the last couple of so years, that if you look back from when we started till now, think about the personal development that we had within and how that statement
Mhm.
actually is true. So I just like to be challenged, man, but it's really about showing others that you don't have to take the non-traditional route. And from history standpoint, we were created to be entrepreneurs. It just, they obviously switched. That's another conversation for another day. But that's my perspective on why I chose to be entrepreneurship and why it was so appealing to me.
Mhm. Yeah, that's really interesting, Jerome. I definitely think entrepreneurship breeds personal development as well. Like when you're an entrepreneur, you face challenges and you also have to fuel yourself. Like you have to give yourself the motivation, and you will have that motivation and drive when you're creating something from scratch and creating something with your purpose and your drive. So that makes you more motivated to get things done and to be of service to other people. um, I think when you are an entrepreneur, the impact that you have, you can feel it more, um, because you're able to define problems, you're able to define solutions, you're able to interact with others, you're able to take in feedback too. I think being an entrepreneur is a very reflective journey. You have to self reflect a lot, take in feedback, learn where you can, leverage resources as well. Always looking for innovation and change and news and staying up to date on your industry. So a lot of self advocation comes in from being an entrepreneur as well. You have to hold yourself accountable and discipline yourself too.
I got a question. That's a good point you brought up. As an entrepreneur, how do you hold yourself accountable?
Yes, that's a great question. So I think what helps me is honestly having Jerome as my co business partner as well, because we help hold each other accountable by checking in with each other, of course, and sharing news and updates with each other. And then for me, how I hold myself accountable is when I wake up in the morning, I'm actually excited to work on our business. Like
Yeah.
I actually feel motivated to help our clients because I know that the feeling I get after we've successfully helped a client and we see the smile on their face and then we see the impact that our work has had on them, it is
Mhm.
like the best feeling ever. And like that feeling is what motivates me, is like having an impact on others. And also I think creating a routine. So I create like to-do lists on this like do not forget thing, and I'll write out specific tasks ahead of time that are a priority, and then that helps keep me disciplined and still staying accountable as an
Mm,
entrepreneur.
mm.
How about you, Jerome? How do you hold yourself accountable?
I don't want to go back to where I came from. So I say all that to say I hold myself accountable because I know what I came from and I know where I'm trying to go. So that right there in itself fuels me because I experienced humble beginnings, and that means I have to work 10 times hard in order to get to where I want to get to. But I am learning to be more patient and have grace with myself, which is something my therapist told me. But I hold
Mm,
myself accountable by just knowing every day I don't want to go back. You know what I'm saying? I don't,
yeah.
you know. So that's how I hold myself accountable. So more so like on a deeper level, my bad, but that's how I hold myself accountable.
Yeah.
And just knowing
Definitely.
that people are counting on me.
Hmm.
People are
Hmm.
counting on you as well. People are counting on us to deliver. And it ain't about them looking for anything, but just
Hmm.
that having that perspective alone will just make you be accountable and be like, okay, I got people depending on me. So I have to do my job and hold my end of the bargain and actually be the leader that they are
Exactly.
expecting out of me. Because I'm sure you got a lot of people expecting greatness out of you. I expect greatness out of you as a business partner, as a friend, as a brother. So that's how I hold myself accountable.
Yeah, definitely. And that's really what helps motivate me too, is like Jerome will tell me like, you as my business partner, like we're doing this together, we have this mission together, like I'm proud of you, and encourages me, and like, I would never want to let my business partner down. So getting that encouragement and knowing that I've got people that you know I'm standing with together to make something happen is a very much so a motivator. But Jerome, how would you say, how can you stay motivated when things get tough? Like, life always comes with challenges, things are always changing. What about those times when things get really tough? How do you still keep yourself motivated?
Remembering why I started. So
Mm, yeah.
the mindset I had going into being an entrepreneur was I knew this was going to be difficult. I knew this was going to be hard. I knew this was going to be a challenge. But
Mm-hmm.
the late great Kobe Bryant said, if history was easy, why bother doing it? And everybody will be able to do it. But as I mentioned earlier, I like challenges.
Yep.
So I'll be honest with you, it's not easy, but I don't see what would keep me from doing what I need to do and overcoming challenges in entrepreneurship. So I just always goes back to remembering why I started this journey. It's going to be a
Yeah.
long, lonely journey, as I'm sure you've witnessed that within the last 3 years of your life. But
Mm-hmm.
it's simple for me, remembering why I started. How about
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, I think you hit it spot on, like remembering why we started this thing. And I think resilience, in my opinion, is like one of the most important characteristics to have in business and in life in general.
Mhm.
Um, so, I've really worked and built my resilience up over the years too, just facing life challenges in general. So, no matter how tough things get, I'm not really the type of person that's just gonna be like, oh, you know what? Like, let's call it quits. Like, it's done. It's just too hard. Like, I
Mhm.
can't do it. Um, Resilience is key. Like, when things get tough, like, how can we adapt and find a new way? And how can we still keep a way forward? So you have to really believe in what you're doing, really believe in yourself,
Yeah.
just like in situations like if somebody gets ill, they're going to stay resilient because they're believing in themselves to heal or to get better. Like resilience is really the driving force that keeps humanity going. That no matter what, we're staying strong and we're staying resilient. I think also in cultures I've seen that a lot, especially Um, Many people affected by war, affected by famine, affected by so many horrible, horrible conditions, and they still have a mindset of resilience to like keep going when times are tough and like to have that hope for things to get better. So
Hmm.
I get inspired by people like this as well that are facing the toughest challenges and still staying resilient. So with business, like I always think about, wow, like I'm truly blessed to be able to call myself an entrepreneur and a business owner. Yes, times are tough now, but let me use this to fuel me because, like we talked about earlier, we've got people counting on us that we want to make proud. We want to help them succeed. And that's just what continues us to fuel and stay resilient. So,
That was beautiful, and I agree 1,000% with that perspective, resiliency. So yeah, thanks for sharing that.
yeah, of course. Thank you as well. So, entrepreneurship is great and all. Um, but for someone who's just starting out, for example, what would you say is some advice that you would give someone just starting out who's maybe like, I don't know how to do this, maybe this isn't the right path. What would you tell them?
If you're doing it for the money or to get wealthy, you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Mhm.
Don't do it for the money. And to be
Mhm.
honest, I think that's the best advice because me and you, we aren't doing it for the money. It's simple. Our business it simply says where impact is made. So we're not
Yeah.
doing it for the money. We doing it to create impact and show others that they can do the same. If you're not doing it for those reasons and to inspire others and show them that they could be impactful in the world as well, that's
Mhm.
not wasting your time.
Yeah, totally agreed. Yeah, because money is not a reason to do something. It's gonna be a byproduct. Like
Yeah,
if you're doing the right thing and you're doing it with a purpose, money will come naturally. But if you're just doing something for money, I mean, and there's no intention behind it or purpose behind it, things could really, really fall apart, and you could end up in a really red zone and a danger zone.
yeah,
So I think purpose is everything. So if you want to start off as an entrepreneur, it's very important to understand the purpose and the impact that you want to have with being an entrepreneur. And then also, be patient with yourself. And I would say test your idea out.
mm,
So you want to have like an MVP, you want to have a minimal viable product that you can go ahead and test out, gather some feedback, hear what others are saying. We definitely did that in the beginning of our journey too. We talked to
yeah,
so many people, shared our idea with them, got feedback, and it helped us refine our business model and our process. So I definitely say it's very important to gather feedback and keep learning. Like no matter what your process is and what you are doing as an entrepreneur, you have to know that you constantly have to stay ahead of the curve and understand what's going on within your industry, outside of your industry, how that could impact you as well. So it's a continuous learning process, and that really is going to require being patient with yourself. Um, you have to plant the seeds for the fruits to come out. It's going to take time, and you won't see results overnight. Maybe you will. I don't know if like you do something groundbreaking that overnight shows you results. That's great too, but it's important to have patience and to also be ready for those ups and downs in the cycle and stay focused on your mission. Just like Jerome said, like if you're doing it just for the money, it'll be hard in those times when things get tough to go back to your why and say like, okay, this is actually why I'm doing this. Like let me go back to the drawing board and see like, okay, how can I adapt here? But if it's just money, you're just going to jump ship to the next money making activity. So very, very important to have your purpose.
yeah. And I want to actually, you mentioned something very impactful that I think we need to actually talk about. And I want you to think about this as well. For those in the audience, I want y'all to also take this into consideration. So you remember those days when we were just meeting people in Atlanta and et cetera, and just pitching our business model, et cetera, right? How
Yeah.
would you have dealt with everyone we met rejecting our business model and saying, "No, that's not a good idea. I think it's not going to work." How would you have dealt with that? Would you have been able to persevere and continue pursuing a globally connected group, or how would you have been? Because we got a lot of, I'm not going to say yes, but people who actually loved our business idea. So I just wanted to talk about that, and also, yeah, let's engage in that and just share perspective on that. What would you have done if everyone we went to rejected our business model idea? Because it's a complex business model.
It is, yeah. So personally, I really appreciate rejection. Like,
Hmm.
I think rejection helps put you in the right direction to where you need to be. So, it's great to get feedback that, yes, your idea is great. Like, good job. Keep going. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
But I think when you get that person who's like, you know what? Like, I don't know about this. I think maybe you should rethink this because maybe you were not going to have the right target market.
Yeah.
Maybe you should consider these things. I think getting rejected really helps you refine where you're going. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to change the impact and the purpose behind it, but maybe you change the process up a bit, or maybe you add something to make it more innovative, or you add something that's going to differentiate you in the market, or maybe you look at a different target audience than what you were initially thinking. I really take rejection as like reflection to grow too. And I really appreciate when people have rejection and have an opinion that they can speak out on rather than just saying that everything is good. Because those people actually really do want you to succeed. How do you feel about
I mean, you said something very powerful where you said rejection equals reflection. So I'm gonna add to that and say, for me, rejection equals a blessing.
it?
So
Oh,
yeah,
okay, right.
I got that from somebody. So shout out to them. But
Yeah.
it's good for somebody to not always be a yes man.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at rejection as, like I said, it doesn't mean that I'm doing something wrong or incorrect. I just need to go back to the drawing board and reroute whatever it is that I currently have to fine tune it so that the oil change can come out and be all the way full again. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm,
I think it's always good to get people to say, "Nah, this not it. Nah, this not work. This may not work. You need to think about this, etc." Because truth be told, those are the people who actually care about what you're doing and who actually
right.
want to see you get to that place you want to be with your business, etc. So I see rejection as a blessing, and I encourage everybody out there that's currently entrepreneurs or in the process of starting a business. Don't look at rejection or people doubting whatever it is you may have as a negative thing. It's just something
Right.
that you have to look within internally and just continuing to fine tune and improve. So that's
Mm-hmm.
my perspective on entrepreneurship. Um, which leads me to a point that I think we should discuss. Do you feel any pressure as an entrepreneur?
Yes.
If why?
Yes.
You feel pressure?
Yes. Personally, I feel pressure because everything's on the line, right? Like you are committing to this dream. So I put a pressure on myself every day because I want to prove myself that what I'm doing is like really the path for me. Like I want to prove it to myself that the belief that I had in myself and in this vision and in this team is is true. It's like a self belief and a self love thing too. So
Yeah,
because of that, I put pressure on myself because for me personally, I work well under pressure.
yes,
Um,
yes, yep,
I work well under pressure. Pressure motivates me and drives me. I don't shy away when pressure appears. I'm like, okay, let's get it done.
yeah,
So sometimes I actually have to put pressure on myself to see like big results. So
yeah. We saw that live, and I'm saying, why you didn't? Me and Abdul looking. I'm looking around like, why you ain't say you needed help? Like, but go ahead. I'll let you proceed.
yeah, yeah. Like so what Jerome's talking about, we were in Senegal and I was just on my feet like do 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 like figuring things out because there was pressure in that moment. Pressure makes me actually think on my feet really quickly. So
Yeah.
I just get up and start doing it. How about you, Jerome? How do you feel about pressure?
Um, I don't know if I feel pressure, but I do feel that I have to perform to be able
Mm,
to meet the expectations that I set for myself as an entrepreneur. I hold
yeah,
myself to high standard. Like I told you, my therapist said that I need to have grace with myself. So
yeah.
it's more so like, okay, I gotta day in and day out, I have to perform to be able to meet the expectations that negates the pressure that comes from the outside world of being an entrepreneurship. For example, I know you've had experienced drawbacks on this journey. People don't, you may have some people, friends, family, etc., who don't support your journey as an entrepreneurship because coming out, if you don't come from a family with money, etc., or that's affluent, you're gonna be bootstrapping your way up until maybe year 4, year 5, etc. And some people may say, which I understandably understand, you need to get a job, you need to do this and that, it ain't bringing in no money, etc., etc. So that can present the pressure, but it's all about performance and not letting the outside noise get into the way of distracting you and knocking
Mm,
you off the pivot of the journey. Because as I mentioned before, this is a lonely journey. Not everybody is going to understand it because it's very
mm,
non-conventional. There's no security, but once you get to year 5, if you make it to year 5, you have a successful business. And statistics prove that. And we are on year 3. So kudos to us. But
yeah.
I don't look at it as pressure. I look at it as always be ready to perform day in and day out to meet the expectations that you set within in order to be the best entrepreneur that you can be for yourself and your business partners and your business.
Mm, I love that. I really love that you differentiated like pressure and performance because actually, sometimes what we can is actually performance we put under the umbrella of pressure, which can have like this connotation of like, oh, like go perform, and it's like too much. But performance and actually knowing that, hey, this is my mission and this is like my drive is gonna help you perform in the long run too, rather than feeling like you have to be under pressure to perform. Like pressure kind of has that connotation of like force, like it's a
Yeah.
force, like which yeah. So yeah, thank you for making that distinction. And also I love that you said I understand understandingly understand. Like okay, nice. I'm gonna start using that.
Hey man,
Under
you got to hit with the metaphors, man.
yeah. Okay, so I think we'll wrap up this topic soon, and of course, if you guys have any more questions around entrepreneurship, please feel free to drop them in the comments. Feel free to contact us too, and we'd be happy to make a follow up. But Jerome, would you say that entrepreneurship is for everybody?
So I was watching a podcast the other day, Earn Your Leisure, and they were asking them, is entrepreneurship for everyone? So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna tell you why, because entrepreneurship tests your resiliency, it tests your patience, it tests your emotions, and it tests your ability to remember who you are as an individual. It tests your identity because, as I mentioned, if you don't come from an affluent family and you start
Mm-hmm.
your business with little to no money, a lot of times, and you're not seeing results within year 2, 3, that's when it really gets tested. You could crash out. Not even saying that to be funny, but you could crash out. So a lot of people aren't built for that. Or I don't think a lot of people are built for that. So if you don't have those skills right there checked or those intangibles within, it's gonna be a lonely and rough journey for you. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with no. How about you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think no as well. I think and I think there's nothing wrong with that too. I think like
Yeah.
it it is good to have like people in many, many different roles, in many different ways of thinking too. I think some people do prefer more of a structural role to their life. Some people also prefer for work to be work and then life to be life. You
Yeah.
know, like they prefer to work some hours of the day and then go home. And for them, that's what they prefer, and that's completely fine and very respectable. So I think not everyone needs to be an entrepreneur, and that's what makes the beauty of it is like people who are entrepreneurs are choosing this path just like someone who's a doctor is choosing this path, or everyone is like choosing what they want to do and then that fuels them. So I think, is entrepreneurship for everyone? No, but I do think um you know anyone that wants to be an entrepreneur can probably do so, because they would have to have that drive, that willingness to learn, that resilience. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, I think definitely you can go for it as well. But is it for everyone? No, and I think that's okay. Like it's good for us to have different paths.
Exactly. Plus, in society, we kind of need that balance in the world. Even though I'm 1000% pro advocate of entrepreneurship, you do need that balance because obviously taxes got to get paid. The economy still got to run for the middle class. You
Mm-hmm.
guess that? But I think you still need that balance. So why would you? Why should anybody be an entrepreneur? For me personally, I just say freedom and being in control of your life and being in control of your time. I think if
Mm-hmm.
you want that in the world, during your lifespan, I think that's why it should be an entrepreneurship. And then also you control your own destiny. You don't have nobody else holding your hand and being in control of your life. So I say
Mm-hmm.
those are the reasons why people should be an entrepreneur. What do you think on that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed with you, Jerome. Like it's like, you don't have someone that's telling you like, hey, I'm paying you this fixed salary, and like these are the tasks that you need to do. I think, for some people that's a great path to have too. And like they're comfortable in that. But I think with entrepreneurship, you it's more risk because you are in control of all these things. So like the work you put in is what you get out. Like you're not going to have a fixed salary just like that. Like it's going to be dependent on what you are creating, what you are giving back to people, and like what value you are creating for the offering that you have. So it's a lot of like self advocacy, and like you have to be really creative in it
Yeah.
and find your way. And then to your point too, yeah, I think the freedom too is really great. For me, freedom of location is really important to me as I grow older. I really just have always been passionate about travel, about seeing the world. And for me, entrepreneurship helps me with my freedom as well, because I can work from wherever I want. Which I'm very, very grateful for with like the business that Jerome and I have. So freedom is a big perk and benefit, I guess, that comes with entrepreneurship. But then another thing too is it's, you're not always going to have the perfect life work balance per se. Like with entrepreneurship, I think, at least for Jerome and I, we don't have set times that we're working. We're kind of like working when needed, when the ideas come to, we're gonna get to the drawing board per se. Like it's not like, okay, 5 p.m., like we're checked out and we move on to our life. Like
Hmm.
sometimes before I go to bed I get an idea for GCG and I'll like just get up and get on my computer. So yeah.
Where do you see entrepreneurship going? We talked about trends. So do you see entrepreneurship increasing? Do you see it declining? Where do you see entrepreneurship going this year and for the within the I say this year, where do you see it going?
I see it increasing, and I see it increasing on a global scale, which is like beautiful, because I think more people now are able to be entrepreneurs. They can create their website for what they're offering, they can reach their target pool. Taxes are becoming more favorable, maybe globally, to be a business owner. People can accept payments globally now, whether that's through crypto or through transactions like from traditional banking systems. So I think entrepreneurship is only growing, and the mindset for entrepreneurship too is growing. I think a lot with our generation is people want to create their own thing and pave their own way. So I see it to grow. How about you, Jerome?
I see entrepreneurship. I see it increasing. My only thing is I don't know if it's increasing because of what people see on social media.
Yeah, true. There's like so many videos on this.
Because what I've learned, and I don't know if I shared this with you, but on social media, they don't market the the dog days that come with entrepreneurship. As I mentioned before,
Mhm.
knowing how to be patient when you're not able to find clients, generate revenue, just the dog days. So I see it increasing, but just be mindful that it's a lot of cons that come with entrepreneurship, and just don't be just don't do everything you see on social media because of entrepreneurship. But I do see it increasing though. Just
Yeah,
it hasn't increased for the right reasons though.
yeah, exactly. Like have your purpose behind you for why you want to do it,
Yeah.
not just what you see the glitz and glamour.
So before we get out of here, I have two things real quick. What's the number one skill you think people should have in entrepreneurship? And then who are a few of the inspirations in entrepreneurship?
Hmm. So I think some skills that people should have. Um, well, I think planning and strategy, like making sure that you're able to plan ahead. Like we use a lot of tools to plan out like our quarter, our year, because that really helps us stay on track as entrepreneurs for like what we want to accomplish. So actually similarly to like some corporate environments that have like quarterly goals, annual goals, etc., this really
Yeah.
helps us stay on track as entrepreneurs
Mhm.
and gives us some structure too to know like okay, these are the tasks. And we also use project management tools and such to be aware of what immediate tasks we have, what are high priorities, etc. So definitely still, I think as an entrepreneurship, it's very, very, very important to have that structure. I think it's also important to be able to talk to people as an entrepreneur. You want to be able to gather feedback from others, and then also as an entrepreneur typically we are responsible for like getting clients, so
Yeah.
we have to be able to go out there in the market, communicate with people, not be scared to reach out to people, not be scared to get rejected by people either. But being able to put ourselves out there and trust in our product and in ourselves, and be like provide knowledge to others as well. So yeah, I would say those are some of the skills. And sorry, what was the second question, Jerome?
Who are some of your inspirations in entrepreneurship, or some of the people that you look up to in entrepreneurship?
Okay. So recently I've been reading up more on Melanie Perkins, and she is the CEO of Canva. And this woman is absolutely phenomenal because Canva is like a I don't know if it's multi-billion dollar or billion dollar company, but from the time that she created Canva to where it is now, and then for her being like a young woman with a unicorn startup that is now used by so many people, and like her business model, I think for me is like really inspirational. Um, so yeah, I think I'd say Melanie Perkins. How about you, Jerome?
The inspirations is Ray Dalio. That's the guy who is in charge of the principles. Him, Nipsey Hussle. That's the biggest one.
Yeah,
Just how that whole marathon ecosystem and how it's continuing to go even when him not physically here. It's just amazing. And then how he was able to sell a mixtape for $100. You never seen that. That and Young Dolph. First time you see outside of Master P, somebody coming to the record industry independently, build this whole record label to multi-million dollars, with his own money. Like, and it's worldwide. This is an independent company that's worldwide. Like, if I don't know that to be successful in an industry that's ran by a lot of majors such as Universal Music Group, Atlantic, etc. I don't
Yeah.
I don't know what else. So those are the three, and probably the last one is Elon Musk. I'll be like, he get a lot of drawback, respectfully so, but the guy's smart, man. He's smart. So as an entrepreneur, you have to be smart, and you gotta have the ability to make good judgment. So I look at a lot of what he does as inspiration. So those are the four,
Mhm.
though. Those are the four who are
Yeah.
inspirations to me in entrepreneurship.
Nice. Yeah.
Last piece of suggestions or advice for current entrepreneurs or those who are looking to be entrepreneurs and how we could help them. What do you have for the people before we get out of here?
So I would say look into the resources that you can leverage, because there's actually so many resources out there that you can leverage as an entrepreneur, whether that's like accelerators or incubators or even like workshops and things like that. So there's a lot of tools out there that are there to support you and other entrepreneurs. um Leverage industry experts too, like for example, like if you need a consultant to help you focus on something, where you focus on something else that's more priority and maybe more in your knowledge base, but you still need to leverage some resources to get to somewhere. Like, I think don't be afraid to leverage other people and other resources.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And I'll say on my end, I would just say just be patient, man. And just like I said, don't go in there doing it for the money. You have to identify your purpose and reasoning or why you want to be an entrepreneur and pursue the journey of entrepreneurship. And you can also reach out to us. Follow us on YouTube at GCG Worldwide. Go on our website and contact us at GCG Worldwide. And we're a great resource to help. Our business, it specializes in global consultancy. We are an international business company where we help enterprises basically navigate the waters of doing international business, being able to enter the markets where it's challenged, etc. So we're always open to helping. And yeah, that's it for us. So we appreciate you all for checking us out for another episode. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we look forward to tapping in with you guys next week for another great episode.
Yes. Thank you guys, and feel free to comment any topics you want us to cover. And yeah, looking forward to discussing with you all again. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.